Welcome, everyone. ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 14th of November. Good to have you aboard. Your favorite little radio program now podcasted all over the world, wherever you're getting this show. I can't take all the time listing all the places you get your podcast. It's going to take too much time. We got important stuff to get to today, but wherever you get your podcasts, that's how you can listen to ZASLOW Show 2.0. And what a start to the week. I told you when we left off on Friday, you ended the show listening to your boy saying, can we start the show on Monday? Saying, first place Dolphins. We are starting the show on Monday saying, first place Dolphins. That's what I'm talking about. What a day yesterday. So Dolphins first place in the AFC. That's obviously going to take up the majority of our show today. I'm so pumped to be with you here. I know a lot of people are excited to hear the start of week number 3, but first, I had to give out some thank yous. Number one, our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 3733. They have been with us since before day number 1, since before the show even went on the air. That's right. Anidjar and Levine, they believed in me. They wanted to be part of the show, and now through 2 weeks, over 10,000 downloads ZASLOW Show 2.0 has just through 2 weeks. So that's super exciting. A special thanks to them for believing on me, and the most thanks, obviously, to everyone out there listening, because without you guys, like, what are we doing? Well, you know, I'm sitting in my underwear eating a bag of Cheetos on the couch in the ZASLOW Mansion family room. But now, because of you guys, over 10,000 downloads through 2 weeks, and I'm just looking forward to growing and growing this thing with all of you guys. Thanks again, of course, Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE. Title sponsor since day number 1. If you're looking for sponsorship, you're looking for advertising info, you can go to my bio on the Twitter page at ZASLOW Show or at ZASLOWJ on Instagram. I'm an influencer. I'm an Instagram influencer, but you can still get in touch with me. You go to my bio and you can see there's an email there. We can do some advertising. But anyway, the most important thing, the Dolphins have won 4 in a row. The Dolphins are 7-3. Your Miami Dolphins are sitting in first place in the AFC East. How about if the playoffs start? This AFC is best division in football. So it's like, oh, they play in a shitty division. No. It's the best division in football. Right now, if the playoffs started today, which would be really weird because we still have, there's 8 games left. It'd be so weird if the playoffs started with 8 games left. But if the playoffs started today, Dolphins 7 games left. They got their bye coming up this weekend. If the playoffs started today, all 4 teams in the AFC East are in the playoffs. Yep. That's right. Best division in football. And the Dolphins lead that division. It's the only division in football with all 4 teams over 500. But you got a 7-win team, you got 2 6-win teams, and then you got a buster 5-win team in the New England Patriots. Mac Jones sucks. Everybody knows that. So we're going to do most of the show today, obviously, on the Dolphins. Our pal Dolphins Drive Time host, Miami Dolphins post-game show as well, Travis Wingfield will make his debut/return to ZASLOW Show 2.0. Obviously, we got your full Week 10 NFL rundown. That's coming up later on in the program. I went to the Panthers game this weekend. They lost. I'm very upset about that. And you got the Heat, who have won back-to-back games. Can they win 3 in a row? Is that possible? Can you win a third? It's happened before. Can you win a third consecutive game? That's tonight. You got the Phoenix Suns in town. But the Dolphins are obviously what everyone is talking about. The entire world is talking about your favorite little football team, the Miami Dolphins. And for the first time in so long, I'm so proud to be a Miami Dolphins fan. You know, I went through a period, the worst thing that can happen to a football fan is apathy. Just don't care. You become emotionally detached. And that happened to me at one point. I'll never forget. It was like, I don't know. It was late 2000s. I don't remember exactly when. I mean, it may have been, I think it was like around Nick Saban's second year, Cam Cameron's only year, somewhere around that period. And we were going through a stretch there where just it was a bad organization. It was bad football. It's embarrassing shit. I was in a strip club with my friend. Oh, I used to love going to the club. Haven't been in so long. Last time I was at the club, it was me and the Rom Dog. Me and Romberg, we went to Tootsie's. We got there before it opened. We had to sit in the parking lot waiting for it to open like a couple losers. But once we got inside, great time. Guy sat right next to me at the bar. There's all kinds of open seats. Sat right next to me, ordered a lobster tail. Okay, I see you. Used to love going to the club. And I was at the club. We're at Cheetah. Oh my God, I love Cheetah. We were at Cheetah. And I said to my buddy, I just turned to him, I go, I'll never forget. I go, I don't think I care about the Dolphins anymore. And he was stunned. Because growing up, obviously, the Heat have always been the most important to me. But you can't want to, jump out the window every loss. It's too many games. So Dolphins losses would hit me the hardest growing up because, and I told you, when you feel so, it's my drugs. Oh my God, I love it. The Dolphins, every year growing up, Marino, every possession, I think they're going to score. Every game, I think they're going to win. Every year, I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. So if they lose, hey, I can't talk to me about the Dolphins for at least a couple of days. Oh my God, it was a mess, just a mess. And they beat it out of you. They beat it out of me. I didn't want the stress anymore. Matter of fact, I remember it was 2002, or 01 or 02, whatever it was. But they were saying on the broadcast, or you're checking out Twitter, what have you, and the last time the Dolphins were 7-3 was that year. It was either 01 or 02. It was, I believe it was Ricky's first year with the team. Team was 7-3. And I'll never forget, that's around that time things started to change for me as a Dolphin fan. And the Dolphins were 7-3. They finished that year 9-7. They missed the playoffs. Matter of fact, they were 9-5. I remember. They were 9-5. And if they win their final two games, they would finish with 11 wins, which would get them home field advantage throughout the AFC. Believe it or not, 11 wins was going to get you home field throughout the AFC. It was that tight. And the Dolphins' last two games, and they were good. They were really good that year. And the Dolphins' last two games that year. Now I'm doing this all off the top of my head, so if you go look it up, I think it's going to be right. But if you go look it up and I'm wrong, I apologize. I can't get everything right. But they were 9-5. Win and you got the top spot. Win the final two games. And those final two games were at Minnesota. Those were the Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss Vikings. At Minnesota and at New England. And New England was, they were anything special. I don't think that was the Super Bowl year. But anyway, at Minnesota, at New England. Win those last two games. And the Minnesota game, the Dolphins were up the whole game. It's late in the game. The Dolphins score. They go ahead. Olindo Mare kicks it out of bounds. Vikings get the ball on the 40-yard line. They go and they win the game. Oh, Olindo Mare. Terrible. I know he lives here in Cooper City. I better not see you at Mayor's Bagels. So Dolphins lose that game against the Vikings. And that was the game. I've told this story before. That was the game where I was freaking out that they lost, and my father told me he doesn't want to watch games with me anymore. And that really hit me. I was like, that is not a cool thing to say. I gotta make some changes. And I did. It would stress me out too much. And then the next game, now they weren't going to get first anymore, but you had to win that game to make the playoffs. And that was the game with the snow. The crowd was throwing the snow up in the air in celebration. Fiedler picked 6 on the goal line. You got Ricky Williams, Dave Wanset's throwing the ball with Fiedler's back to the end zone. Dolphins lose that game. They finish 9-7. They missed the playoffs. What a year. So that was the last time that the Dolphins were 7-3. This team is so much better than that team. This is the best Dolphins team since, man, I think I got it. It's probably, what year was it? It was 94. I think this is the best Dolphins team since 94. And the Dolphins lost in the AFC divisional playoff at the San Diego Chargers. They lost that game 22-21. The Dolphins led that game 21-6, I believe it was, at halftime. That was the game where the Chargers, go ask Coach Jim McDuffie about this. That was the game that the Chargers turned out the Dolphins' power at halftime in the locker room. So the Dolphins couldn't get anything done, no adjustments, nothing. They're sweating down in the locker room with no electricity because the Chargers turned it off. And then in the second half, Natron Means, Chargers, they're running all over the Dolphins. They go ahead 22-21, but Marino leads us down the field. And for the last play of the game, you got Stoyanovich. All-time great Dolphins kicker, Pete Stoyanovich, but this ended up being his last kick as a Miami Dolphin. All-time great kicker, Pete Stoyanovich. And it was like 48 yards, 47 yards, which back then, that's a long kick back then. And he missed it. Missed it. Game over. Dolphins lose, season over. That year, that felt like the year. That was a great Dolphin team. And the fact that I got to go back almost 30 years to give you a team that was this good. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. For the first time in so long, I'm so proud to be a Dolphins fan. And this feeling that you have now, this is how it feels when the Dolphins are relevant again. Because it's here. Been waiting a long time, right? You want to be one of those sports towns where all the teams are good, all the teams are relevant. You know, this has been a basketball town for very, very long. This feeling that you have right now is how it feels when the Dolphins are relevant again. And that is a completely different ballgame in South Florida. It's something that we haven't had in forever. When the Dolphins are the best team in town, which is what's happening right now, this is what it feels like. You have not experienced this, like I said. I mean, you got to go quarter century, essentially. If you're a Dolphin fan who's 25 and under, you've never experienced this. You've never been alive for the Dolphins being the most relevant team in South Florida. You've never been alive. You weren't born. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. I am so pumped up for this football team. And they did it. Now, I haven't even got to the game yet yesterday. Now, we're a ways away, obviously, from the end goal. The question that's on everybody's minds, right? Are the Dolphins going to win the Super Bowl? No. We're a ways away from having that conversation. Long time away. Although my son wants to look at flights for Arizona. Okay. But here's the takeaway right now. And the goal is to win Super Bowls. The goal is to be a contender every single year. But here's the big takeaway right now. No matter what happens the remainder of this season, they did it. They totally did it. That's the big takeaway. They absolutely did it. Now, what are you talking about, ZASLOW? What did they do? You know what they did. You know what you did, Mackenzie Weegar? No, that's not what I'm talking about. They did it. It actually worked. Tank for Tua. Freaking worked. They did it. Starting 0-7. Got to get the number one pick, which, by the way, here's where the karma works, right? Because tanking, losing all your games, that's not a rebuild strategy. That's not a strategy. You can, just look at this past year. You can win just 3 games. Winning only 3 games is so bad and still not get the number one pick. Your rebuild plan, getting the number 1 overall pick, that's not a plan. The Dolphins did it the right way. Now you could say, hey, they tore it down, and they were 0-7, and then they finished that year, 5-4. And they won 5 games there. It's, they screwed up. No, they had integrity. They did it the right way. They went out there and they tried to win games. They didn't win many. They lost their first 7. But they had good karma. Karma was on their side because they weren't tanking the whole season. Now, the front office may have put them in a position where they're not going to win many games, but the whole, hey, they couldn't even tank properly. That was one of Flores's big mistakes. He couldn't just keep Josh Rosen out there and lose every game. No, you do it with integrity. And I strongly believe this in everything in life. You do things with integrity, karma's going to be on your side. You do things with class, things are going to work out. And Brian Flores, look, I like Brian Flores as a coach. And I'm going to, we're going to talk a little bit about Flores today. But Brian Flores had his flaws. He had his faults, for sure. And he looks terrible right now with the whole Tua situation. But, snitching ass, Brian Flores. But, one thing Brian Flores did do right is integrity. Okay? He had class. And he tried to win games that year. And you're like, oh, he couldn't even tank properly. Well, they went about it the right way. He went about it the right way. And as a result, they don't have the number 1 overall pick in the draft. That was Burrow. You ended up getting number 5 overall. You got Tua. What a kid. What a kid, Tua Tagovailoa. You got Tua. I strongly believe in karma in those types of situations. You do things with integrity. You do things with class. Things will work out for you. And that's what happened to the Dolphins there. They did it. It actually worked. We're a ways away. We're a long way away from the big goal. But what you can say right now, it worked. They decided to rebuild. What was it, 4 years ago? Tear it down. They're gonna try and get a very high pick. They want Tua. They're gonna tank for Tua. And here we are. Franchise quarterback, who's also one of the best quarterbacks in the entire National Football League. And an MVP candidate. You heard those MVP chants? You weren't at a Heat game. It wasn't Jimmy Butler on the free throw line. No, it was Tua with the football. They got their franchise quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's an MVP candidate. In year 3, they did it. It worked. And I've given Chris Grier a lot of shit. A lot of it deserved. It's not like I'm wrong. Well, maybe I was wrong overall about Chris Grier, but I wasn't wrong about poor moves that he made. I mean, still struck out on 2 of those 3 picks that year. But you can do a poor job and then get better and do a great job. And that's how I feel about Chris Grier. I think he made a lot of mistakes. I think originally he did a poor job. But he's been hitting home runs, maybe grand slams since then. And he's done a terrific job now. And we'll talk to Travis Wingfield coming up in a little bit about Chris Grier. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of good things to say about him. But it worked. That's your biggest takeaway right now. 10 games into the season, going into the bye. It worked. And here we are. You got a great football team. And they're exciting. And you got a quarterback. What a great kid. I love him. I love him like a son. What a kid. So the Dolphins kicked the shit out of the Browns yesterday, which you'll love to see. They got after Jacoby Brissett. You had a bunch of sacks. I mean, Christian Wilkins getting back there. Jalen Phillips getting back there. Melvin Ingram getting back there. Bradley Chubb getting back there. Everyone was getting back there. Look at you now, Jacoby Brissett. You got what you deserve. You stunk last year. You're terrible. I hate you. And now the Dolphins go into the bye feeling... I'm not one of those people who they've won 4 in a row. Oh, the bye comes at a bad time. Nah, I don't buy that. I think you're rolling, and now you get to rest. Now you get to break a little bit. I think the bye comes at a nice time. I like the bye here. I'm not worried about that. Man, what a game yesterday. How about that? Let's talk about the actual game now. How about that running game? I mean, see, throwing the ball over the field, super fun, super exciting. You love to see it. But there is an attitude that comes with running the football. And I'm looking forward to talking to Travis about this because he understands this type of stuff. He sees this a lot better than me. He looks at the film. Game's over. He goes back and watches the film. Game's over. I'm living my life. He's going back and watching film. I'm living my life. But that offensive line, these were gaping holes. And Jeff Wilson, oh, that's my dog right there. Jeff Wilson running hard, man. Raheem Mostert. Raheem the Dream. But Jeff Wilson, what a pickup. But also this offensive line just opening up massive holes. And some of these throws from Tua are just, they're incredible throws. Like the one where he was fading, where he was rolling out. He was about to get sacked. He had to give it away and hit the sideline for like a gain of 20 to Tyreek Hill, who came back for the ball. But Tua likely made that throw before Hill had even broken the route. Just that one in particular. Some of these throws, the timing on it, phenomenal. Phenomenal throws, this guy. Sherfield, Hill, some of these throws, like, how about, we're going into the, late in the first half. Biggest sequence in the game for me. And now Dolphins won the game. Well, what do you mean a big sequence? It kicked their ass. It wasn't always a beatdown. I mean, the score was 10-7 late in the second quarter. Biggest sequence of the game comes late in the second quarter. So you had that great throw to Hill that I'm talking about there. Right before it, the Browns went for fourth down. They don't get it. Dolphins get the ball. You got Tua, great throw to Tyreek Hill. You had a couple big runs from Jeff Wilson. Boy, he's awesome. And now you're inside the 10, and the Dolphins are stuffed on third and fourth and short. Not even close to picking up the first down. Turn the ball over. There's 2 minutes left. You're up 10-7. And that was a huge play. Like, I was mad, man. Damn, that's a big play. The score was only 10-7. It's late in the first half. It's a huge play because now I was cool with them going for it there. I'm not going to second guess that. I was good with them going for it there. They're running the ball well. Pick up a yard. Let's get a touchdown. But here's the thing. And I'm still cool with them going for it there. But here's the thing. Should they have gone for a field goal there? Because get the ball back to start the second half. You go up 13-7 there. Then you also get the ball back. That's debatable. I'm okay with them going for it there. But that's debatable to take the points because then you're getting the ball back. So anyway, the Dolphins give up, this is the biggest sequence of the game, at least to that point. Dolphins give up the ball there. You get the big sack from Ingram and Wilkins on third down, forces the Browns punt right away. So now you're getting the ball back with enough time to still do something at the end of the half and then get the ball back, get the double dip. You had a great throw to Waddle for first down. That was on third and long, remember? Waddle over the middle. Great throw to Waddle for first down. Incredible throw and catch to Sherfield back in the end zone. Boy, he's a nice third receiver, Trent Sherfield. Incredible throw. Great catch. Getting both feet down. Touchdown. And that, of course, makes up for not picking up the fourth down earlier. And here's the thing. Oh, but what if they went for the field goal before and they got there? No, that wouldn't have happened. Because since you gave up the ball on downs, the Browns had the shit field position. You forced them to punt. You now get pretty good field position. It wouldn't have been the same result. So it all worked out. Massive sequence there. The Dolphins don't convert. They don't kick the field goal. But the defense makes the big stop. Get a sack on third down. And then you get the touchdown. This is why you always defer. So they got the touchdown right before the half. Makes it 17-7. Get the ball back. Now Tua's dealing. Kid's dealing. And you got Mostert with the long touchdown run. It was like a 20-yard touchdown run. That's why you defer. You got the double dip touchdown end of the second. Touchdown start of the third. What was a 10-7 close game. All of a sudden, 24-7 beatdown time. Let's go. And this Dolphin offense, they scored, touchdown or field goal, they scored every possession but one. What was the one? The one I just told you about. Where they went for on fourth down, late in the half, and they didn't pick it up. That's the only, and we're not counting the end of the game when the Dolphins, the clock runs out on Skylar Thompson, game over. Yeah, we're not counting that. Dolphins scored and that Browns defense is good. Dolphins scored every possession but one yesterday. What a team. What a team. And the defense finally got some pressure. Big runs, Wilson, Mostert. The penalties were down. Okay, all right. The penalties were down. That's a big problem earlier. Penalties were down. And Tua just spreading that ball out. Spread it out. We do have to look at something. We do have to get real about something, though. And I talked about this last week. I didn't think that just a week later would I be sitting here and saying this. And you got the bye week, so you got the time to do something about it. But I talked about this last week. I did not expect just 1 week later to be talking about it again in such a serious fashion. And that thing we're talking about here is the Dolphins have a serious problem at kicker. Yeah. I'm not even going to say it's the elephant in the room. I mean, everyone knows about it, and everyone's going to talk about it now. A huge takeaway from the game yesterday. This team has a problem at kicker. I told you last week, it was an easy field goal he missed. It was inside 40. 2 extra points he missed yesterday. Get the F out of here. Get the hell out of here. 2 extra points. They got a problem at kicker. This team is a Super Bowl contender. You cannot, if you're Mike McDaniel during the bye week here, you cannot ignore a problem that we can all see. You know what a good coach does? A good coach identifies the problem and fixes it before it becomes a real problem. If the problem happens and then you're reactionary to that, that's not being a leader. A good coach sees the problem, sees what could happen because of this problem, and is proactive and does something about it. And for this Dolphin team to get to a playoff game and lose a playoff game because Jason Sanders misses an extra point, 2 yesterday, or because he misses a kick, I don't care how long it is. The Dolphins, with Jason Sanders, the Dolphins are going to get to a playoff game and they are going to miss a big kick, and it's going to cost them their season, and we all see it coming. And if we all see it coming, McDaniel knows, and he's got to do something about it. We all see it coming. You can't let it happen. You got to move on from Jason Sanders during this bye week. Yep. I told you last week that they may have a problem with kicker. I did not expect just 1 week later to be sitting here and telling you they need to move on from Jason Sanders. But it's the truth. They need to move on. You bring in another kicker now. I hate the idea of bringing kickers in off the street, but that's your only choice, your only option. You bring him in now. It's the bye week. And he's got, what are we talking? They'll get back, for week 12, and you'll have 6 weeks to get comfortable before the playoffs. You got to move on from Jason Sanders. We can all see what's going to happen. They're going to get to a playoff game. He's going to miss a kick. And that's going to be a bad job out of McDaniel because we all know it. You got to take care of the problem before it costs you. You got to be proactive. Can't be reactive. You got to do something about it. And you got to do something about it right now. It's got to go. It's got to go. Jason Sanders was so good a couple years ago. He was money. He was never missing. He didn't miss his first kick till late in the season. He was so good. And now for the last couple years, he stinks. Every time Jason Sanders is out there, I have no confidence he's going to make any kick. It's 50-50 at best that he's going to make any kick. I know that's not his actual percentage, but when he trots out there, you're a Dolphin fan, are you saying to yourself, I feel good about this kick? Nope, I don't feel good about a single kick. He could easily miss any kick he takes. You got to do something about it. You got to get rid of him during this bye week. Can't let it cost you a playoff game. That's one big takeaway from yesterday. Second big takeaway from yesterday. The Miami Dolphins can run the football. For people who talk about, but Tua, noodle arm, once he gets to the playoffs, is he going to be able to throw in the bad weather and the snow? Remember last year playing in the rain? That's when you had the big, I think it was Tennessee game. I don't remember which game it was. But you had the arguing with Flores because you had the rain, the bad weather. Guess what? Dolphins can run the ball. Dolphins can run the ball. That's another huge takeaway from yesterday. We can get to winter if the Dolphins have to play games on the road in the playoffs, which right now, Dolphins will be hosting 2 playoff games. But there's still a lot more games left. To be weird if they started the playoffs right now. There's so many games left. Dolphins could run the ball if they get into bad weather. That's the second big takeaway from yesterday's game. And the third big takeaway from yesterday's game, they got an MVP caliber quarterback. You know it. That's what I'm talking about. It worked. They did it. They were rebuilding 4 years ago, and it worked. Look at us now. We're here. It worked. They did it. You got to give a lot of credit to Chris Greer. You do. You got to give a lot of credit. Oh, man. So those are our big takeaways from yesterday. My biggest takeaway is the Dolphins can run the ball. And we're going to get to cold weather, and being able to run the football, that travels. You can get to cold weather, you can run. Number 2, Dolphins have an MVP caliber quarterback. And number 3, it's time to move on from Jason Sanders because he's going to cost them a playoff game. He's going to cost them their season. I would be surprised if they did not move on from Jason Sanders during this bye week. I think they're going to get rid of him. First step, obviously, they'll be bringing in guys to try out, but my guess is they're going to get rid of him this week. I did not expect to say that after that. Now, I had the thought last week. Didn't expect to say that this week, but we're here. It's, we're at DEFCON 5. Got to move on. All right, we'll get back to the Dolphins. Travis Wingfield will join us coming up. We got a full NFL rundown coming up as well. Hey, though, first, the Heat. The Heat are back in action tonight. They have the Phoenix Suns. The Heat won back-to-back games. Last time we spoke on Friday, did not feel good about the Heat's first win against Charlotte. Remember, the Heat beat them on Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, the Heat beat them on Thursday. Then on Saturday night, though, they took that ass. I was like, hey, when's the fun starting? Saturday night was good. I wouldn't call Saturday night the fun because Charlotte stinks. Boy, LaMelo Ball made his season debut. He is so reckless out there. So reckless. But anyway, the Heat, they put on a good performance on Saturday night, did what they were supposed to do. They're now 6-7. I don't necessarily feel good about it. I mean, the Hornets are now 3-11. They're one of the worst teams in the league. But at least you did what you were supposed to do, and that's kick the shit out of a struggling team. And they did that. They did it without Tyler Hero, missed his 3rd consecutive game. He's questionable for tonight. Omer Yurtseven likely out for the season. I feel like Victor Oladipo's out for the year too, by the way. But that's just speculation. Tyler Hero, questionable. He could return tonight after missing the previous 3. But one thing we got to point out about Tyler Hero, why did the Heat win the game Saturday? That was Heat basketball that we saw Saturday. And what I mean by Heat basketball is this team is at their best when it's the sum of their parts. Not when it's one guy, and definitely the same guy who's playing the starting role. Point in case, Jimmy Butler on Saturday. He had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, took 8 shots. Got to the free throw line, 7 for 7, but only took 8 shots. Wow, and they scored 132 points? Yeah. You don't need one guy. You don't need the same guy being the star. Max Strus led the team with 31. Gabe Vincent he had 20. Bam had 24 points and 15 rebounds. Bam was the one who took the most shots. You'd like to see that more often, right? Took 18 shots. But the point is, Tyler Hero leads his team in scoring, leads his team in field goal attempts. It doesn't have to always be Tyler leading the team in scoring and leading the team in field goal attempts every night. This team is at its best when they're a ball movement team. Last year, they were, for several years, excellent ball movement team. They're at their best when they're a ball movement team. And sometimes, Tyler, the ball sticks. So they got to find a way to make sure that the ball movement is still there when Tyler's on the floor. He's their best offensive player. He is. But it doesn't mean he should be out there taking 20 shots every single game. This team is at their best when they're spreading the ball around. Defense still leaves a lot to be desired. Tonight you got Phoenix. The Suns. We all know the Suns. Are the Suns number 1 in the West still right now? Let me check right quick. Just give me a second. I don't have everything off the top of my head. No, the Suns are 4th. They're 8-4. They're a half game back of number 1 overall. So Suns still off to a really good start. They make their lone trip tonight. If you're saying to yourself, Daddy, can you please take me? I want to see Chris Paul. This is your only chance to see him. So tonight, you got the Heat and Suns from the soon-to-be-named ZASLOW Show 2.0 Arena.